Inflation has Americans fed up with tipping. There are three main factors I see and no one is talking about one of them. Tipping is about making sure the people who are performing that service for you are getting paid what they're owed. And if you work for a company, it's that company's job to pay you for the work you're doing for them. I'll leave it up to you to decide which reasoning you align with. But who's really coming out on top with this dichotomy of tipping? It wouldn't be the financial service companies, would it? Payment processors like Square make 2.6% plus 10 cents off of every transaction, off of the gross. So it's in the payment processor's best interest to have a higher point of sale, which leads us to the invasion of the tip screens. The more screens, the more tips, the higher point of sale. And there's even some science involved here. When confronted with a tip screen in front of the underpaid employee, you feel that thing called social pressure, compelling you to tip. And when the payment amount is higher, people feel inclined to tip compared to a lower point of sale. Full service tips increased about 25% in 2022 and 16% for counter service restaurants. And there was a big influx of tip screens around that time. Could these payment processing companies be using social science to guilt you into tipping so they make higher profits?